Hello guys, welcome and hope you are preparing well for your next challenge and having a very good time. So in this video we are going to discuss something really good. I did good amount of work to collect this content. I did research, I interviewed people, I connected people, asked their experiences, and this content is like a cumulative report, you can say. And if you complete this report, you are good to go with any front-end developer interview. It's just not just about FANG. There are lots of other companies as well where we have to prepare for them, and we have to crack the interviews. So at the end of this video I'm going to share the presentation with you as well, so you can just prepare. And I've been an interviewer as well, so I understand what kind of topics and what are the things we see in the candidate. And there are lots of different things as well which we need to cover to crack the interviews nowadays. It's just not related to only the React or Angular, whether JavaScript. There are different other things like accessibility, security, performance. These all things I have written in this PPT after like connecting with lots of people and after some research as well. So if you complete this, you are good to go and crack any interviews. And I'm telling you, this is kind of a big guide for you, so you can always follow and always be on a top space. And for a bonus point, I have added the content not just about React and Angular, but performance, security, accessibility, and basics as well, like HTML and CSS. So this is going to be really interesting and really helpful for you. And guys, because I was doing some good amount of work for this, so I hope you will like and subscribe my channel as well. So let's dive into the PPT and let's see what we can get. Hey guys, so if you see the title of this presentation, it says Bulletproof Front-End Developer Interview Kit, and this is definitely bulletproof because this presentation is just not covering the interview questions but all the different concepts as well, which is as mentioned in the in my introduction, it's going to be helpful in your career as well. And if you prepare this all, you are really good to go for any MNC interview, like for the front end or the similar roles. So the content in this presentation I'm going to cover are HTML, CSS, object-oriented JavaScript, functional JS, performance, security, accessibility, and the things to make you stand at the top. And this is definitely a really important thing, and this will definitely make you stand at the top from the other candidates. And we have bonus as well, so let me bring out the bonus for you. So I will be covering the React content in this because you have not seen React in this content, so this is the bonus. We will cover it in very detail and all the concepts. If you cover, you are good to go. And the another bonus is Angular content. In my previous videos, people said I should be covering Angular as well because I was keep on talking about React, but in this presentation we are covering the Angular content as well. So if you are preparing for a role for Angular, this is definitely helpful for you. So don't get confused, this content is really helpful. This is big, I'm telling you. It's just not like a single line content I'm going to share in this presentation, but I bet you as well that if you prepare, you will be really strong candidate for any company. So don't get confused, stay focused, relax, sit back, and after you cover this, life will be really relaxed. You will be chilling, I'm telling you. So okay, so let's talk about the HTML, CSS first of all. So if you see request lifecycle, DOM, CSS, and semantic HTML and accessibility, these are not the title, but if I just specifically talk about semantic HTML, for example, company these days ask you to write a simple, just create a HTML form with two input and a button. So they will judge you there with the semantic tags which you are going to use in your HTML. If you are using a span or you are using a label, and if you are using a div, so be careful because some of the leaders or seniors still check these things in the code reviews. So you should be very precise. We cannot just ignore it and write it in our CV that we know HTML, but we should be definitely knowing these things. Media queries, some of them not very perfect, but it's required. In the browser storage things, you should be good at you should be having good understanding about this, like local, session, cookies, IndexedDB, web SQL, service worker, web workers. These are not going to take too much time, but I put those into the HTML, CSS because These are important, and these are the building blocks. If you are a front end or a UI developer, you should be very good in this. SEO basics required, because we have some tags we should be following up for the SEO. So a minimal amount of information about this is really helpful. Then rule selectors, property values, cascading, inheritance, specificity. These questions are quite related to CSS, but these are really important because these are the building blocks of CSS. If you know these, then you are good. And this can be asked in any, I'm not talking about the MNC or FANG, any smaller company, startup, they can ask you. So if you are starting a career or you are experienced, it doesn't matter, you should know this. And responsive design, most of the candidates get confused with this question. I recently took the interview of a guy who was confused with the mobile first design. So be comfortable, be confident about it, and media queries as well, even though few things we are not using, but you should know these. Okay, it's like that. And layout, these properties are important, like display. Still these days as well, display properties are being asked in the interviews. So prepare it, give it a day. If you're not getting it in a perfection, just give it a day and get yourself very familiar with this display and position properties. Animation and translation, I would not say get yourself very excellent in this, but just learn few properties. Okay, preprocessors and processor are also important, like CSS and JS, which is very famous in React, and SCSS and SAS, those are also helpful. Okay, now let's move to the object oriented JavaScript and functional JS. So I'm not going into very much detail, but I will tell you that if you prepare these things, you can say that you know good about JavaScript. Okay, so variables, scope, data types, operators, loops, if statements, error handling, functions, execution context, which is this, and the call, apply, bind, differentiating factors into the ES6 and ES5, the basics of that. I'm not telling learn everything, but just basic. Events and event handling as well. DOM manipulation, just do not underestimate this thing, this is really important. And prototyping, inheritance, and closures, just be perfect in this. And in the next video, I'm going to cover about these object oriented JavaScript and functional JS concepts. So be ready for my next videos. I'm going to cover those in a Hindi or English version, and I'm going to introduce my book as well in this next video as well. So I will be giving those books as well. Testing is important. Jest, Enzyme, Karma. These days TDD and the testing is very much in trend. So, and the necessity as well. So in good companies and good projects, testing is there, so we should be comfortable in this. And just prepare some of the syntaxes as well, because interviewer can ask you to write a test case as well, so should be very much comfortable. Asynchronous programming is always into the limelight, so event loop and how it works. Then promise chaining, callbacks, and these things should be at your tips, I'm telling you, because interview judge you on these. If you know, these are considered to be the core of JavaScript. So if you are good at this, they can ignore some of the things which you don't know. That's a very plus point. Patterns, module systems, and principles. Learn these things, because we do not use it on a regular basis, but in some companies where people are writing the libraries or some important things, these are important, so you should be good at these. And there's some of the theoretical things like 12-factor array, solid principles, and dry principles. These are still asked in some good companies. Like if I talk about the some good companies like BBC, these are asked very frequently. And let's talk about the next Indigo. So functional programming contains pure functions, side effects, purifying closures. Okay, composition, compound functions, immutability, map reduce filter. These are very common things daily basis. So get yourself comfortable, get your hands dirty with this, practice these things. PWA is definitely was very much into the picture nowadays. I'm not saying that it is very much hyped, but it's a very good plus point for you if you learn these things, because it contains push notifications and background sync as well, and these things makes it really awesome, I'm telling you. And it doesn't take too much time to learn it. You can just do a small course and you're good to go. Tooling, these things make you a good developer and make your position very prominent in the team. If you have information about ESLinting, Husky, if you want, I can create a separate video for Husky and ESLinting configuration, and I did it in lots of projects. So I would say that this is really good and improves your code. So if you're going and moving ahead in your career, you should be very comfortable in these tooling things like Webpack, configuration, code splitting, tree shaking. So these are not for the beginners, I would say, but if you are experienced developer like 3-4 years experience, you should be learning these things, because this will make your chance to become grab the next position in a company or other companies as well. GitHooks is important, but is not very highly recommended, but it's required. Code bundling, minification, production ready assets using Webpack. These things again, I would not say it for the freshers, but for experienced guy will make you stand out. I'm telling you. Now let's talk about the performance, because lots of people do not think about it, but there are separate sessions and separate interview period for this topic, performance. So like compression, caching, CDN, okay, and then if I talk about the profiling, okay, and then monitoring of the performance, basic performance testing like Lighthouse, okay, and the awareness of the matrices like TDFV, TTI. So you should, maybe you don't know these terms, but if you will Google out and learn about these, I'm telling you, this will take not a single day or two, but it will take time. But these things are like really important, I would say, and not just about cracking the interview, but it's about like making your application very awesome, because it's just not like getting into the company. You have to work there and survive there as well. So if you have these skills, you will stand out. Let's talk about security. And I'm telling you, lots of us do not care about security. We are just the front-end developer and we ignore this, but these are like very important. If you're working in a very competent company or a very good project, so you should be very good at the security as well. And this is SSL, TLS, course issue you generally have in your development as well. So refresh tokens, like most of the people are still confused with the refresh token, access tokens. So just give it time and be comfortable. Authentication, authorization, okay, protect user data, RBAC, ABAC, these things are important. Validations are important, and we don't know, okay, it depends on the interviewer. Even if they have the list of questions from the company, they can ask you these things. And even if you are not able to answer the questions which is in their list provided by their company, and if you can answer these things, they will personally mark you as a good candidate. I myself do this thing. And now accessibility, I'm telling you, 90% of us do not care about it, but this is really important nowadays. It is coming into light, so you should be familiar with this. I'm not telling you be an expert, but ARIA tags, AAA and AA, okay, so just get yourself comfortable, read about it, get some YouTube videos for this one, and learn about it. Then we talk about tooling, bundling and logging. Again, if you just want to stick up for the interview thing, I would not recommend this slide for you. But if you're going with an experienced developer, you should be preparing this thing. And I'm not talking about getting into the Docker, Vagrant and the differences, all these things, but just be aware about these things, okay. Logging standards, because nowadays companies are like, how you are going to check what's going on in the application, where it is breaking up and all these things. So logging, toolings and code bundling, minification, product ready assets, I've already shared about it. So writing the custom scripts as well in Webpack as well. If your project is ejected, so you have to be good at the Webpack things, writing the scripts for there as well, okay. and make you stand at the top things are like check the understanding of top down and bottom up approaches. Okay, and these things are like kind of not very technical, but if you're going for an interview, let's focus about these things. Okay, I really care about this when I'm taking an interview for a person who is like till 3 or 4 years experience. If he's really keen to learn things, if he don't know, I do not care about if he miss something, if he's not able to answer something. But what I check, what he's doing, I check his CV, and I try to check what he's trying to do in his time. If he's trying to learn things, what he's exploring, and what he's trying to grab in his time. Okay, and this matters because I'm not hiring a person who is already expert, but I'm like hiring a person who is at a good position, understand things, and really interested in learning things. Okay, the communication skill is still important. Okay, because nowadays we are doing work from home, so you should be good at explaining what you are trying to say. That's the communication, that's the good communication. Okay, and learn few things, like this comes with the experience. I'm not telling you if you are a fresher, do not go with this. But if you're experienced and already working, you should know what is planning poker, how you estimate the story, how you differentiate it, how you ask the questions. Okay, these things are important, and generally at the like kind of the end, in the end rounds, these things are being asked. Okay, really good. Now let's move to the bonus point, which is React. If you want, I can explain it, but this video is going to be really long in that case. So I would say the basics of these are these things: the lifecycle methods and hooks. If you are already working in React, I can set some introduction while going into the detail instead of going into the detail of React. So you can just grab this PPT and learn about it, and I will share the link into the description of this PPT so you can download it. Okay, and now let's talk about the composition and organization component. So these things are, and I'm telling you, these are not just the basics or not just the advanced thing, or not just for telling you this thing. You should be good at this. Okay, you should understand what I'm talking about if you're going for an interview. That will be the bonus. Then routing, SSR, SSD, they will not ask you a lot of things about SSR until it is not related to their project, but you should be knowing these things. Okay, and this is the universal important question we ask in the interview, like working with remote data into React, where what you will do, what lifecycle hook you will use, what are the things you have already used. This is not recommended for you if you are a beginner or like 1 or 2 experience, because GraphQL is not for you. But if you find yourself comfortable, you can go with it. Okay, then again, organization and like organizing and managing component styles, it's up to you. Unit testing, integration testing, and tooling as well, you should be comfortable with these. Not everything, but few of these. Okay, error handling, and in the React, like with the error boundaries and all, code splitting, suspense, lazy loading, type checking, and handling props if you're not using like TypeScript, and if you're using TypeScript, you should be good at that as well. React component performance, this is also important and make you stand at the top. Now let's talk about the production code best practices. Follow these: splitting vendor files, Babel and its role, state management libraries and their ecosystems, like all these. With this, if you are already into React, you can go with this. And guys, if you have any questions about any of the topic, you can just comment down. I will be really happy to answer. Now let's talk about our next bonus point, which is Angular, which I was missing in my previous videos. So TypeScript, because this is the most preferred one with the Angular nowadays, so just go with it. And if you are using JavaScript, then it's up to you. I'm not lying, and it's up to the project. Okay, then components, data binding things in Angular, directives, pipe, services, modules. Services is really important and you should be good at this, like okay, injecting services, using the instances of the services, component communication using the services. This I would say give some extra notice in here, and that will be great. Then routing and guards in Angular, guards are the really important thing. Okay, and should be good at these, because in the interviews nowadays, if people go into the detail about like login, authentication, authorization, then they will eventually jump on this guards. So just get yourself comfortable, can activate, deactivate, and resolve as well. And then further few things which are very common. And unit testing, again important. you can use any tool, any library, it's up to you. Tooling is another important thing I already mentioned, and you will find it in lots of the content and lots of my videos, linting, unit testing and all. State management, up to you what you are using, ngrx or any other library. Server side rendering is always nowadays important in Angular as well. I hope you like this content which I shared with you guys. So you are going to get this PPT as well. So I would suggest you just prepare step by step and prepare all the content, because it's just not about the FANG. There are lots of other MNC companies which are also offering a good amount of package which you can grab and you can keep gradually moving upwards, right? But these things are not just for interviews, you also know, because if you are coming into the front end or any kind of development, you should know these things. These things make you a good developer and opens the door for you to go up and up. Okay, it's just not about being a developer always. You will be a manager, architect, so you should be knowing all these things, and these will definitely bring you at a good package. So it's just not you get the good package in FANG itself. There are lots of other companies where you get it. So the content which I shared in this presentation, this is like a common content, and like almost all MNCs in India are like asking these questions for the from the candidates. So I think if you prepare this, you are really good to go, and it's just up to you. In my previous videos I also told you, like you can mold the interview to ask you the question you are good at. Okay, so this trick you already know. If you don't know, just comment down, I can tell you. And I wish you really all the best for your interviews, and do subscribe and like my channel, and the good amount of content is in the queue which is coming. So hope to see you again guys. Bye.